So first of all, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here at the MOAD Open Mic. My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Visitor Experience Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora. And as we gather here tonight, again, it's essential that we acknowledge the time that we're living in. All the different places that we're tuning in from, we're all experiencing similar things. We're living through multiple pandemics at this time. Including the systemic violence against Black people. And so it's important that we recognize that and recognize that that's the space that we're coming into, and knowing that this is a space for our grief, our anger, our exhaustion, but also a space for us to seek joy and comfort in each other's company. And so all are welcome in this space. And for me, it's of the most importance that we center respect and continue to create these important spaces for amplifying Black voices in this time. And before we get into the logistics of tonight's event, I also want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. Though we are gathering virtually, many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. And our institutions were founded upon exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples whose land we occupy. With deep respect, MOAD acknowledges that even in a virtual space, our people, our work, our network servers are all on native lands. And so we thank the indigenous people of the Bay Area who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. And so again, with that, I am very grateful to find community and healing through art in these gatherings. And so for those who are new and joining us in this space, or those returning to this space, I'm just gonna go over a few of the house rules and the flow of the event for this evening. So I ask that everyone who is not on the mic reading, please keep your microphones on mute. However, because open mics are very intimate and they're interactive, I do want people to be able to affirm each other when we hear pieces that we like or lines that stand out. So I encourage folks to both use the chat to type in comments to each other, or also, air claps and snaps are always welcome. Because I think it's important that we are able to respond to each other and let each other know what is impacting us. And so we have a full lineup for this evening. I'm gonna post the lineup in the chat after I finish these next few words, but each reader will have approximately 4 minutes to share. And so we'll start the event with the first half of the open mic readers, and then we have our wonderful feature, Christopher D. Sims, joining us tonight from Illinois. So he'll go in the middle of the event around 7, and then we'll close out the event following his feature with the rest of our open mic readers. And my last note just for now is that, I appreciate everyone being here and supporting MOAD. And so for those who are able to, we're going to be putting information in the chat later about ways to donate and give to help sustain the programming that we do here at MOAD. And so just to note that form of support is always welcome. And again, I am grateful for everyone being here in this space tonight. So with that, I'm so excited to introduce our first open mic reader for tonight. Welcome, James Cagney, up to the mic.
Hey, Nia. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm going to run through 2 short poems real quick. First one is called Memory Palace. Time having dissolved rituals once considered sacred. Sacred as food foraged by ancestors. And how they pity us, our declining supply of blessings, called a depression. The great pandemic anchored by a depression of touch. Memories swarm like locusts, honeyed fingers, smudging a mustache of sweet cream and butter off the lips of a child. Summer's hobby of sterile nails lancing adolescent blackheads between jigsaw pieces of the Last Supper planted deeper than potatoes into the dining room table. I remember submitting to your tenderness, your thermometered touch. Meals manifested sleight of hand, a snap of flour, pies prestidigitized, hips swinging the bump during Curtis Mayfield's Saturday service on Soul Train. These memories tap like rain against the window of my haunted house. Where are the extinct rituals of prayer oil, being touched by God in a service of voices, chosen really? I pray to you now, your healing laughter, lips sutured with sugar. your freedom to caress every living thing like sunlight. I remain here, this cactus of blood filling my heart, my mouth stifled, separated, standing 6 feet deep without you. And this last quick poem was inspired by seeing a homeboy attempt to hold up a Bible. This is called The Flames of Genesis. In this garden of perennial thistles where I was forced to sharecrop, my job, name the bite style of each fresh animal rushing from the double-gated house above me. Describe the complex flavors of poisoned saliva, citrus, metallic, peppery. Every night I am murdered in my sleep, only to awaken radiant and naked beneath dawn's monsoon of blood. This white Genesis occupied by the proudly illiterate after labeling the tree of knowledge a controlled substance. Every night the bushes open its jaws and my shift begins anew, tagging words for being spat out and eaten again, determining the fine notes between mauling for recreation or slaughter triggered by fear. I am made in the image of illegally moving targets. My ribs open nightly, blossom of beef mushrooms, its aroma singing to the sky. Night opens its drooling jaws in praise of me. All right, thanks guys. Thank you, Nia.
Thank you so much, James. Your writing is vivid as always. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite LaNeisha Murphy. You're ready. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for this space. I have two. One's a little heavy, one's a little light. I usually don't name my stuff, but this first one I did. It's called First Language. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, of seasickness and shark bait, lying in our own excrement, praying for the lashing of salt spray and fresh air. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, of cutting chains, massa and missus, welts keloided across strong backs, 2 hours maternity leave when babies looked of creamed coffee, and fingers missing for discovered autographs. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, of learning that freedom wasn't free, and our sharecropping cost more than a tithe. It cost our intellect, our patents, our carbon filaments, our yesums and nosas. It cost our pride, and the odd bend in our necks should we dare disobey. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, of picnics and the Klan, of averted eyes and the taking of our daughters, of swollen faces and well-drugged bodies. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, of a brutality we began to visit upon ourselves, out of trauma, despair, out of hundreds of years of silent anger, helplessness set ablaze, then numbing, then rage, then numbing, then rage. The first language we learned here was that of brutality, and that brutality has now found its rightful seat, masterfully crafted and well-worn, silenced no more, placed at the feet of those that have reaped the blessings of coffee cream babies, keloided backs, oddly bent necks, drugged and broken bodies, shark bait, carbon filaments, helpless, numb, proud, Black bodies. We have learned your language well. And then the next one, I don't have a title, but here we go. I was liberated at 32. Coils no longer confined to sticks down back, kissing the curves of hips, bumps at the end resting beneath shoulder blades. Free. To live in kink and bend, lightly kissing cheeks, caressing shoulders with a recoil that rivaled that of any Smith & Wesson. I was liberated at 32 from assumptions, "Oh, your mother was white, right?" No, but my grandmother was a Polish Jew, so you know the intergenerational trauma on both sides, that's real. My hair is nappy and it reaches back generations to slave quarters and ghettos, concentration camps, and the Middle Passage, to the glorious shores of somewhere on the continent where my ancestors were stolen. Instinctively, I return, with voice hums, hip shakes, back arch, head thrown back, afro silhouetted in the glorious sun. Free. Thank you.
Thank you. Both of those were very powerful and very beautiful. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Carolina Rivera Escamilla. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this space. I wrote this poem and it's fresh. I have never read it before, so here we go. Bear with my accent. Yeah. Your deaths are not in vain. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Black is beautiful, powerful color that for 400 years has been suspect and suspicious in this land where you were born on a stolen land. Colonialism, imperialism, empire. Terminologies were faces and flags based in this long history of atrocities after atrocity, and has everything and nothing to do at all with Black color, for Black is beautiful. I want you to know that your names have been in mass chants where hands, fifth, and of little girls, young, old, and children of all colors elevate signs like spring butterflies swirling around with no fear of noisy helicopters circulating in the sky, with men with guns that despots send like vultures. They are the scared ones. The people have chants of your names whose drums song flutters up and outward from mountains of voices, bleeding for justice. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. The streets are filling and spilling, all in waving protest into the corners of the world. The streets gush with rivers, and rolling stones are their voices, rocking furiously, dancing, no justice, no peace. Oh, spring of 2020, a strange year when we were caged. We were all at home, hiding from disease. The men with guns thought we would be afraid of coronavirus, too scared to go out to protest. But racism is the virus we should all be scared of. What vaccine can we invent to eliminate, exterminate racism? The very notion of cruelty, inhumanity, white supremacy, empires of policy, of police, took history to control ancestors, Africans and Afro-Americans, indigenous peoples, and all the made in English America manufactured for 400 years. This is for you, Breonna. Black women's death since slavery had been rendered invisible. You were in the prime of youth, but your death is not in vain. You have planted horizons with faces of all colors that chant your name too. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. The voices not will stop. Not anymore. Enough is never enough. You know, George Floyd, statues and confederacies of races are continuously being torn down until all so-called heroes erase themselves forever, until the collective soul of the land might be sanitized. Your lives were taken, but your memory will live forever. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Your deaths are not in vain. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Zakiyyah Capehart. Welcome to the mic.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone?
Hello.
My name is Brian B. Bowling. I'm the husband of Zakiyyah. And we're going to be doing a couple of pieces, original pieces. I'm going to do a piece that I've written called Children Are the Light of the World. And Zakiyyah's poem is entitled Our Children. Okay, here we are. Ready, honey?
Yeah, sorry about that. I have my tablet on, at least making a lot of noise. Thank you for waiting.
Baby is crying 'cause mommy's not at home. Some are even dying before they have a chance to grow. Let's join throughout the land to save their little souls, 'cause children are the light of the world. Some cookies and candy was all she ate last night. Baby's feeling lonely 'cause Ma and Daddy had a fight. Let's join throughout the land to make things right, 'cause children are the light of the world.
To pop, to pop, to pop. Doom, doom, doom. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Boom, boom, boom. Our children hear the sound of a new beginning. Our children are the catalyst, moving us from our present world to that horizon. Distractions are necessary for the emergence of the dawn. Our children are equipped to confront and handle the world they are changing, for we have taught them well. Elders hold the power, possess the strength, shape and mold the minds of our children. Elders are love-nourishing role models today for tomorrow's leaders. Our children, to pop, to pop, to pop. Doom, doom, doom. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Boom, boom, boom.
Children are the light of the world. Children are the light of the world. Children are the light of the world.
We'd like to invite you all tomorrow. We will be performing for Juneteenth at Miss Ollie's, which is located on the corner of Broadway and 9th. She will be going from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. and we will be performing from 3 to 5 p.m. We will put in the chat the address, and we hope to see you all there. Brian, do you want to say something?
Yes, come on out and check us out. It's the first night that Oakland is opening up to have restaurants have outdoor seating. And that's what we will be performing for the people sitting outside of Miss Ollie's tomorrow from 3 to 5. So thank you again. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for both your music and your poetry. I couldn't stop smiling listening to both of you. So thank you. And please do put in the chat more information about your performance.
Thank you, Nia.
Next up, I would like to invite T. Watts to the mic. Welcome, T.
Caught me by surprise. Can everybody hear me? Thanks, Moad, for this space. And it's really a blessing to be here with such a varied, diverse, and talented group. I'm only going to read one tonight, and it's called Justifiable Homicide. Is my profession. I write sophisticated rhymes that melt mercury dimes in phony silver throats. Hi-ho, Tonto. These lines can slay the truth as we know it into something real. I mouth mutilated metaphors knowing that blood will bathe America and we will all fall or rise to the redness of the ever-present eye. You might find it hard to buy, and I am not a communist that I know of, but justifiable homicide is my game. Ever since raindrops smashed my eyes, sent rivers to my head, drowning dead memories. Yes, indeed, I am talking about anything human. Justifiable homicide is a way of life. I'm learning the ropes, slashing the hemp away, and when smoke gets in my eyes, I close them and hold the hit to blatantly blow in your face when your funeral becomes necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, T. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Carol McGruder. Welcome to the mic.
Hi, good evening. I'm Carol McGruder, and I'm going to be reading a piece. I am the co-chair of the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, and this is a poem that I wrote, or a spoken word piece for our elected Black officials that still take money from the tobacco industry when tobacco is the #1 killer of Black people. Complicity, an open letter to our Black leaders. Well, you know, I never smoked, they say, as they turn their eyes and look away. They turn their eyes and look away, even as they step over 45,000 dead Black bodies. Black bodies dead from Newports and Cools and Swisher Sweets and not so Black and Miles. How can they turn their eyes and look away as they step over 45,000 dead mamas and daddies, aunties and uncles, 45,000 nanas and papas? How can they turn their eyes and look away? Wouldn't they stumble? Wouldn't they fall? I don't like smoking, they say as they look away, as if saying that absolves them from inaction, absolves them from complicity, absolves them from smoking with the enemy. As if saying that absolves them and justifies their neutrality. Do they think they're Switzerland, sitting neutral between Germany and the Jews, neutral and silent to the #1 killer of Black people, neutral and silent to these federally adjudicated racketeers, these Ivy League corporate gangsters in their $1,000 suits with their exclusive country club memberships that probably wouldn't even allow them in? I don't like cigarettes, they say as they look away. What does that have to do with it? Would you say, I don't like AIDS, I don't like breast cancer, I don't like homelessness, I don't like police officers killing Black men whose only offense is being Black? Would they say, I don't like these things and yet never do anything about it? What is your plan, man? Leaders lead, they assess, they navigate, they challenge, they champion, not from their personal experience of what they don't like, but from cold, hard facts. and 45,000 of them lay at your feet. Leaders lead in spite of Mario and Oscar and Trayvon and Stefan and Amadou Diallo. I have not forgotten you. I never smoke, they say as they turn their eyes and look away. But I know you. I know you. You are how I got here, how we got here. Your empire is built on the bodies of your brothers. You are how we populated Charleston and Richmond, Bahia and Haiti. You were complicit then and you are complicit now. Long ago, you sold us, you traded us for African trade beads. Now you trade us for comfort support, for hosted bars and souvenir trinkets. You trade us to finance your political campaigns. You pretend you don't understand. I never smoked, you say, and look away. And that magic phrase allows you to give them, the tobacco industry, access to our children, access to our people, even access to our holy places where they sit back quietly, watching, studying, adapting their strategies of what to do and say, to keep their captured monkeys from getting away. You are supposed to help us, to protect us, to be our North Star, but you turn your eyes and look away, acting like you don't understand. But we understand. We understand. Coca-Cola can't help us with diabetes. The NRA can't help us with gun violence. Wells Fargo can't help us with home loans. The KKK can't help us with lynching. And the number one profiler and killer of our boys and men, big tobacco, they can't help us with anything. The number one killer, killing us with a $20,000 slow moving bullet that they let us pay for by the pack on the installment plan. They can't help us with anything. My dear Black elected official, you are not Switzerland, and your people demand that you take a stand. You are not neutral, you are complicit. Thank you. And yesterday, we are suing the FDA for their failure to take mentholated tobacco products off the market. So keep an eye out for that. That's us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that important reminder. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I'd like to invite Charles White. Welcome.
Oh, sorry, I had to actually unmute myself. Thank you for welcoming me to the venue, and this is my first time doing a virtual poetry open mic. So anyway, I have two pieces that I would like to read. The first one is titled "A History of Race in America." Auctioned on a black devil, poked and prodded. Open your mouth, nigga. Let me witness what I'm buying. Yet at the same time witness human degradation, pain doled out for profit, whips scarring back, sealing our fate with our blood. Watch it soak into the tasking field, growing and fertilizing wealth I don't have heir to. Lincoln speaks over my ancestors, bites chains off my feet with one word, freedom. Eloquent phrasing leads to new horrors. Crackers on horseback with blood on racist lips. Bullets pregnant with ugliness, ready to kill a family in the night. Lynching noose ready to steal a life, mutilates a God-given body, spilling precious life into the black void, my existence mutilated into worthlessness. Now we fight mass incarceration, crack pipes and money encase many behind bars. Life played out in a prison yard, Central Park 5 in a 5x9, can't hide from your skin. Melanin convicted you in your mama's womb. Scream, I can't breathe, smothering under the knee of racism. Choked until death takes me, my breath stolen from me in a flash, only a worthless nigga. Courts pass out small retributions for 100 years of pain. Who I blame? The system. Answers elude as politicians posture, wringing their hands with surprise, like you didn't know. Suffering was right in your eyesight, I can't depend on you. No savior in my mind, only another promise from political mouths. We black folks must fix our own house or continue to die under the knees of racism and white power. And that is my first one. And my second one is titled, Hey Black Man. It's not easy wearing these dark shoes. A black man's shoes are painful and covered in the dust of slave shacks. Living in America in fear, of life being blasted to bits due to fear of the melanin coloring his skin. He wonders, does his Black life matter? Navigating through daily struggles, answers bubbling, anger bubbling in his soul, ancestral strength keeps him moving towards the goal. Can't allow mishaps to derail. To fail is not on the agenda. Continue in memory of forefathers who did die at the whip. Hangman's noose. Let's lose history. It's not a mystery. Blood soaks the soil of the USA, not in the past, but today. The price is too high to pay to return to yesterday. We must mend broken human ties, not bind ourselves to hate, but build a new faith and rise above the fray to create a new day built on equality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing both those pieces. They resonate deeply. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Raymond Nat Turner. Welcome.
Yeah, this I'm gonna do one piece that was dedicated to. I was fortunate to read at the Harriet Tubman Centennial Celebration in Auburn, New York, for her. It was the 100th anniversary of her death because her birth date wasn't known. This is called "Thanks, Mama Harriet." I cried, "Help, Mama Harriet, help. Help, help, Mama Harriet, help." And you, beautiful young warriors, came toy-toying from Ferguson, Baltimore, the town, through tear gas clouds, pepper spray storms. You came tying traffic into hangman nooses, shutting malls down like open and shut cases of killer cops who walk. You came wrestling your minds from the hands of oppressors. I cried, "Help, Mama Harriet, help. Help, help, Mama Harriet, help." And you, beautiful young warriors, came incandescent, kicking, screaming from capitalism's womb. Waters breaking, unleashing torrents of energy, sending surges of resistance, electrifying our streets like Las Vegas nights. You came galvanizing, mobilizing, out-organizing wet blankets of false consciousness, suffocating confusion, despair, plastic cuffs, protest pens, free speech zones, police state checkpoints, poles with eagle eyes, walls with elephant ears, jagged resting places of boomers bamboozled by the state's complex simplicity. I cried, "Help, Mama Harriet, help, 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 Mama Harriet, help." And you, beautiful young warriors, came waistbands concealing questions, came actions unraveling riddles wrapped in enigmas, shrouded in superstition. What is the state? What's this octopus, 10,000 tentacles circling the wagons? What's this creature of constitution, courts, prisons, jails, judges, legislators? What's this machine of mediators, arbitrators, governors, generals, admirals, wardens, agencies, bureaus, spies, snitches, provocateurs, patsies, and foot soldiers, sons of slave patrols, the police, all coming from the same playbook, the same page. I cried, "Help, Mama Harriet, help. Help, help, Mama Harriet, help." And you, beautiful young warriors, came trusting fresh, unvarnished perceptions that the state protects private plane, too big to fail, Cayman Island crowds, serves 99% pig foots and fists, knuckle sandwiches, boot burgers, baton blows, tasers, and loads of hot leads, compliments of the 1%. You know it ain't broke. Every epithet, insult, punch, kick, baton blow, bullet served superbly. You get that there's no fixing the robber's gun, leaving skeletons wasting in doorways on cardboard mattresses, hands curled into cups from begging. You see there's no tinkering with terrorist bombs, blowing up food stamps, Social Security, Medicare, and your schools, your clear clubs crushing resistance, suppressing free speech, shielding scabs, smashing strike wars, slaughtering tens of thousands of African, Asian, and Latin American brothers and sisters can't be adjusted. I cried, help, Mama Harriet, help, 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 Mama Harriet, help. And you, beautiful young warriors, you fit the profile, toy-toying from Ferguson, Baltimore, the town, vying for mastery of mass struggles, myriad farms, sit-ins, boycotts, marches, mass meetings, mass rallies, teach-ins, freedom schools, freedom songs, study groups, sabotage, armed self-resistance door to door, doing the difficult today. The impossible might take a little while. And then I have this real short piece that I would like to read. The real national anthem, boom, 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 boom. Gotta shoot you right down. Boom, 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 no matter what town. Boom, 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 boom. Another good shoot. Boom, 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 boom. Lynching at the root. Boom, 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 boom. No need for a trial. Boom, 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 boom. Done plantation style. Boom, 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 boom. Big or tiny town. Boom, 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 boom. Shut the mother down.
Thank you. Thank you for both of those. I love how, like, the musicality in your words. It's beautiful. So next up, let's see. Next up to the mic is Jose Garcia Martin. Welcome. Let's see. Is Jose here? Well, perhaps I will go on to the next reader, but we can circle back. So Norm, welcome up to the mic.
There we go. Okay, this is coming out of my book, Get Home Safe. Wrote this a few years ago. I am a Black son. I ain't making no assumptions about making it home, safe, without incident, unless I stay at home. No guarantees there neither. Forgotten self-hate, remembered dismemberment, unrequited rage, burning my peace wick at both ends. The inner fires burn through flesh barriers like strange fruit on a barbecue. You want your country back again? To a real American, great America cookout. With Black lives, not all lives, spinning on spits. Counting Facebook hits like body blows filling body bags. Corporate media feed, social media, enough fear to starve a heart of empathy and love, while hate has a picnic stoking the coals. Second piece is called No Roadmaps in the Sky. Moving forward and being present depends on the terrain surrounding your present. Moving forward and being present can be a climb, a Matterhorn face, vertical distance forward, measured not equivalent to long distance hiking over foothills. Both require presence, one step at a time for every step. Present, 12 feet separating each footprint, either a giant's stride or one running before taking flight, steps becoming a flap of a wing, one step at a time for every step. Present, changing direction, choosing the course that has no trail. Steps so small, no distance can be measured from one step to the next. Present for each step, following a spiraling path with no direction, an inner compass guiding my present like constellations marking guideposts for pilots crossing immeasurable expanse of distance and time with a purpose, never arriving, moving forward, being present for every step and getting home safe. Peace.
Thank you, Norm. Thank you. It's always wonderful hearing your poetry. All right, next up, I would like to invite Kalia Vernon up to the mic. Welcome.
Hi everyone. So my poem is called Divided States of America. And I want to put an emphasis on how I spelled America. I spelled it with the KKK instead of a C. So I'll start now. They want me to pledge allegiance to a flag of a divided states of America, and to the racism for which it stands, one nation created by colonization, built on the backs of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, without liberty nor justice for all. Where this nation's founding fathers founded white supremacy, that kidnapped kings and queens from Africa, that enslaved Black mothers, fathers, children, and elders, that dehumanized and brutalized, that oppressed and criminalized, that segregated then integrated, all the while still discriminated, that legalized slavery and then 13th amended it, that disproportionately incarcerated, that systemically and physically and spiritually and mentally and emotionally is guilty of murder. The divided states of America. I know how you used your laws and your systems to rename slavery. I learned about the transition from slave catching to Ku Klux Klanning to policing, training symbols of white hoods to stars on badges. I learned about Jim Crow. I heard about Michelle Alexander and the new Jim Crow. Mass incarceration, I know. I heard about the school to prison nexus. I learned about redlining. I learned from Assata Shakur when she told me that no one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes, if they know that that knowledge will help set you free. So now, I can't unsee your anti-Black media, or your infiltrating, your rioting, and your looting. I mean, I've also laughed at the memes of your barbecue Beckys, your permit Patties, and your Karens. But the nerve of this divided states of America, where they're angry when we scream Black Lives Matter, where they insist that no, all lives matter, blue lives matter, when all lives can't matter if Black lives don't matter. If Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Rakia Boyd, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, Khalif Browder, Breonna Taylor, Nina Pop, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Tony McDade, where this list can keep going and going and going and going. So no, our lives cannot matter if you can't see that their lives matter too. In the words of the Honorable Malcolm X, you and I are the victims of America. We haven't experienced democracy, we've experienced hypocrisy. If we were Americans, then the problems that confront our people wouldn't even exist. And I agree. The war on drugs wouldn't have existed, especially if that crack epidemic wasn't planted in Black communities, especially if fathers and mothers weren't ripped away from their families, especially if tear gas, rubber bullets, tasers, and handcuffs are still used in peaceful protests, especially if property is of more value than Black lives, especially if a global pandemic disproportionately impacts Black lives. Divided States of America. You cannot self-identify as a free country when you're the oppressor. Who's really free in this so-called democracy? A nation with the highest rate of incarceration in the world. No high school class taught me that. Black Studies homeschool did. Professor Ava DuVernay's 13th did. Professor Spike Lee's Malcolm X did. Professor Angela Davis's Free Angela did. Professor Assata Shakur's autobiography did. Professor Toni Morrison's The Pieces I Am did. Professor Maya Angelou's And Still I Rise did. My summer interning at the Hayward NAACP did. I learned from Black brilliance, Black excellence, and Black resistance that this nation only holds 5%. This nation holds only 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prisoners. That this nation's 32% Black and brown people make up 56% of all incarcerated people. So yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the criminalization of migration, the criminalization of melanated skin, the criminalization of the zip codes we live in, the criminalization of hoodies, headphones, do-rags, bonnets, braids, and dreadlocks, the criminalization of sexuality and gender and disability and poverty, the criminalization of running and breathing and living, the criminalization of Black dissent and of our protests, always guilty needing to be proven innocent until proven that Black bodies are worthy to exist. Divided States of America. All lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that piece. Every single line of it was right on point. So thank you. Thank you for that reminder for all of us. So I'm going to share a couple of pieces and then I'm excited to introduce our featured poet for this evening. So let's see. This first piece is entitled Pantone. The color of front lines and back doors. The color of their table and no seats. The color of first. The color of misnamed. The color of speak only when spoken to. The color of bootstraps. The color of glass ceilings. The color of blankets birthing statements. The color of token. The color of outspoken. The color of unannounced fingers meeting braids. The color of only. The color of clutched purses and quickening paces. The color of the other side of the tracks. The color of missing. The color of pins dropped on conference room floors. The color of the unweighted table. The color of 63 cents. The color of the service elevator. The color of too good to marry but good enough to fuck. The color of headstrong. The color of switching tongues. The color of talking so well. The color of my word against yours. The color of being magic enough for everyone. And then this next piece is rather new. I took some time to write my body and myself a little love letter. So this This is entitled To a Body Returning Home. We have come a long way, haven't we? We wear the scars of change. They look nice, don't they? We can say that now that growth dresses herself these days. We have so much to be proud of. We remember all of those who have come before us so that we can be here today in this beautiful, strong, changing body. We will birth futures in this body. We carry the tools for our revival. We know we must protect ourselves first. We will find joy, pain, challenge, and triumph in this skin. We are both safe and unsafe. We are feared and fearful. But we do not have to choose one state of being. We claim all we want for ourselves. We are on our way back. We are our first home. We are home. Thank you. So with that, I'm excited to now introduce our featured poet for this evening. Christopher D. Sims, a.k.a. UniverSouLove, is a Northern Illinois-based poet, spoken word performer, musician, and an arts educator and activist. It was 1980s rap hip-hop music that helped him discover his gifts as a writer. He's a seasoned poet, spoken word performer, and musician who can play percussive instruments. He is also a songwriter. And as a spoken word artist, Christopher has performed in Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, Madison, Wisconsin, Brooklyn, New York, East Harlem, New York, on Long Island, in San Diego, Toronto, Ontario, and in a host of other cities and other states. He's the author of Universal Citizen and recorded The Best Kept Secret, a rap album with producer Nicholas Riggs. Music, especially jazz music, is a major influence on Christopher's musings and writings. Currently, he is pushing forward as an arts and cultural leader as a 2019 fellow of the Intercultural Leadership Institute. So welcome, Christopher.
Thank you, Nia, appreciate that. I loved your poetry. It was really lovely, really good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you and I got to know each other via LinkedIn, so that's super cool. And I want to shout out the whole state of California for sure. I got fam out there, and there's a cousin my cousin Lisa's checking me out tonight, this evening. So yeah, and the brother Charles White, the cat is coming out of my hometown where I am now, Rockford, Illinois, 60 miles west of Chi-Town. So I am honored, I am thankful, I am blessed to present in this open mic. When I first found out about it, I was excited, but I've known about the museum for quite some time now. And as soon as I found out about the museum, I was elated and knew that it would contribute to the African diaspora in a major way. So ashe, ashe, ashe. So I'm gonna jump into my set, and I hope that it's a nice ride for you all. I definitely wanna honor the all of the folks that are on the front lines right now fighting this anti-Blackness, this, I'll just say definitely the anti-Blackness for sure. I can stop there. Say so much, but I'll definitely stop there. And I'm fortunate that the young people in my city, Rockford, Illinois, are leading the charge. And when I have the time, if I'm not writing protest poetry, I am with them on the front line. So here's a protest poem. Poetry, poetry, poetry that gives birth to revolution. Poetry, poetry, poetry that gives birth to revolution, revolution, revolution. We need powerful, empowering poetry, poetry that promotes positivity, poetry that encourages people to progress, poetry that gives birth to revolution. We need poetry that puts on black dashikis, black berets, black pants, and black boots. Poetry that raises his fist to run through oppressors who oppose their rendering racism. Poetry that gives birth to revolution. We need poetry that puts on black berets, black pants, and black boots. Poetry that gathers gutless men, graceless women, guiltless children to guide them back to greatness. Poetry that disintegrates crack, evaporates alcohol, so that we don't continue to fall into destruction. Poetry that gives birth to revolution. This world needs poetry that puts an end to poverty, to starvation, to homelessness, to AIDS, to cancer, to dehumanization, to mass incarceration, to gentrification, to prison privatization, to policing children in our systems of education, to unjust detention, to criminalization of those seeking immigration, to death during migration, to the horrible border situation. Poetry, poetry, poetry that gives birth to revolution, revolution, revolution. And that's that piece. All righty, we got that out the way. So I'm gonna quick step over to a piece that I wrote a few days ago. And much thanks to the folks writing Speaking Truth to Power. This is my latest piece about speaking truth to power. On the backs of Black people, the United States was transformed into a global powerhouse. On the backs of Black people, especially in the South, the United States has achieved the impossible, has used Black blues and gospel to galvanize a greatness only witnessed in modern times. This wretched country shines on the backs of Black people. On the strong shoulders of the daughters and sons of the African diaspora, this country has breathed life into economic systems, has made endless monies off of Black women, men, children, in its many jails, prisons. On the backs of Black people, this sick country has launched evil campaigns, has stained its name in the process, has created one big mess. It won't ever be blessed because of what it considers success. Success on the strong shoulders of Black people in the US has eliminated the progress of so many others. Won't ever understand the term, we are sisters, we are brothers. On the backs of Black people, this country continues to lie, to not speak truths, to remain in cahoots with dictators, life takers, racists, bigots, sexists, haters, denigrators. Will lie in bed with anyone that will do it economic favors. On the backs of Black people is where the United States has been too long, too long, too long. It's where she finds her home. It's where she has always done wrong. It's where she will continue to write history, but never scribe her own songs, her own songs. On the backs of Black people, America, you have never belonged. And that's that piece. Alrighty, let me jump into another memorized piece. This is called Word Warrior. And sometimes an idea or a concept will come to me in which I want to kind of transform my understanding of a way a poem should be written and how a performance poem is supposed to be performed. This is called Word Warrior. I am a word warrior, sorcerer of sonic sounds infinitely bound to the beauty of the universe, which I bring to life through verse. I am a word warrior. I use words as weapons to combat ignorance, negativity, and self-destruction. Each word is encoded with instructions to annihilate regressive activity. It's instilled with peace and positivity so we discover our talents, gifts, abilities. I am a word warrior. I am in harmony with the heaven within. Once I meditate heavily, my diction becomes medicine. Once I focus into the beginning, the universe becomes a sacredness that seeps from my pen. I transcend words with reason and rhyme to climb to the divine, and at the same time, I discover the sun's shine, creating a revolution of thought, line after line, after line, after line. Word warrior, traveling around our infinite galaxy. With tenacity, I display grammatical mastery. My capacity to defy verbal gravity is just a gift naturally. Words, weapons, wisdom, grammar, vernacular diction, language, dialogue, conversation, lyrics, verses, poetical demonstrations. I swim inside the softness of syllables to become liquidly lyrical. My thought process is rhythmical. When did this one individual miracle take place? I embrace the intelligence and elegance of the universe. Out of me is beauty, bursts. Word warrior, creating cosmic dialect not yet found. I'm connected to beauty, to passion, to fire. I am rhyme and reason and just beyond desire. Word warrior. And that's that piece. Yeah, I'm having fun this evening. I hope you all are too. So let me jump back into some more protest poetry. This piece kind of went viral on Facebook, if there is such a thing, but I had to write it, and it is a sign of the times. It's entitled, Minneapolis is Burning. Minneapolis is burning for justice. We Black people are yearning. The hate here in the US, we're confronting, discerning. I hope you won't stop learning why Minneapolis is burning. Heads are turning, the smoke is increasing, the pain is seething. Start believing that Minneapolis is burning. Minneapolis is on fire, the activists won't retire, the situation is dire, the events that transpired took a man's life. Minneapolis is burning tonight. The people are meeting, planning, marching, targeting the nonstop injustice in the city. Minneapolis is burning because of endemic bigotry. The citizens are soldiers in an army against racism, just like the forefathers and foremothers. They'll fight back at the system. Can't you feel the heat? Can't you see the flames? They're doing it in George Floyd's name and Breonna Taylor's name. Let the flames burn, let the buildings fall, let racist practices dissolve into the blazing infernos. Hate has to go. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Are you ready to stand near the heat, the heat, the heat, the heat, the heat, the heat? Rightfully so, the people, the soldiers, the fighters are earning camera time. Minneapolis is burning. Some might think it's about time. It's about time, it's about time. We're tired of losing lives. Why do we have to continue to die, to die, to die? To all Black people and our accomplices, this is concerning, concerning, concerning. Burning, burning, burning. Minneapolis is burning, burning, burning. That's that piece. Appreciate the snaps, no doubt, no doubt. So this is actually from a personal experience. This is more of me speaking truth to power. I'm trying to take my time. Nia told me how much time I have, so I'm trying to take my time. Take your time, Christopher. So this is not only a personal experience of mine, but of people who I've known for quite some time, for years. Went to middle school with, maybe some elementary school, and of course high school. So this is what we've experienced in Loves Park, Illinois, a city just north of where I'm from. We would drive through Loves Park at dark. Police would be parked on the side of the road, watching for us young Black people to leave, to head south, back home. It was a constant, taking place every week. The boys in blue would greet us with police lights. It was a fight all the time as we sought to enjoy being together, dancing, romancing the night air, romancing the night's air. But they never cared. They just stared down our license plates to single us out. They singled us out. Without a doubt, they were profiling us, organizing their forces against us, waiting to nail, then jail us. Never was it ever discussed that we were being profiled, the police were being hostile, that we were being terrorized. Multiple times our rights were denied, our patience, our very existence was tried. The most ironic thing is that Loves Park's motto is a city with a heart. But back then they turned racism profiling into an art. We needed the NAACP back then, myself and my associates and countless friends who had encounters with the Loves Park Police Department again and again and again and again and again. Cruising through there with my twin brother after all these years recently, these terrorizing memories come back to us immediately. Repeatedly, we revisit these times that are abusive, stressful to the mind, stressful to the mind. Someday, sometime, here a revolution will be sparked, and we will all be freed from those detrimental experiences we had in Loves Park. That's that piece. Yeah, just trying to float on, float on. Poetry for the people, no doubt. I think I'll switch gears and jump into a piece that was published in Intercultural Press. It's actually out of California. Google or check it out. First poem in the book is entitled The Return of Earth She. Besides anti-racist activism that I've been committed to, I'm also a fairly well-known environmental justice activist. So I wrote this out of that work that I've done. Earth has returned. She is living, breathing, realizing her breath was leaving, leaving, leaving. She was needing us to remember her worth, to recognize her worth all over again, all over again. We used to be her friends. We used to help her heal us, help her heal us. And then she lost all trust and faith in us. She has returned mad, saddened. However, she's empowered by this new commitment that she is signing on to. She wants you, me, and the rest of the human beings who populate this planet to never take her for granted again, to never take her for granted again. If Earth is dying, who really wins? If Earth is dying, then who wins? She's providing for species. We live in a cycle that provides for one another. You and I, we are Earth's sisters and brothers. We are Earth's sisters and brothers. Her lungs are smothered with toxic, radioactive chemicals and plastic she cannot digest. She has cancerous garbage in her breasts. We have polluted Earth to death. Unless we take a step forward and take a step back and reverse our damaging effects. Our next step should be radical movements that peacefully changes things with civility. We have the ability. Earth is alive, we can't let her die. I want my Earth back. I want to take each of our solutions, then ready them for distribution. We all have effective contributions. We need to just turn our passion into action, execution. We are all a collective that can't be defeated. Immediate action is needed. What about the children? What about future generations? Who is going to save the lungs of the ecosystem? Toxic water slaughters the frogs and the fish. Imagine how much they wished we didn't pollute their habitats. Clean water, clean air, imagine that. We need our Earth back. She returns. We need our Earth back. It is her turn. And that's that piece. Thank y'all, appreciate it. I see y'all snapping. Like we at a coffee house, a cafe or something, you know. So this is, I will be a fool to not share this poem this evening. This poem is for Nia McAllister. This poem is for all the sisters that have shared tonight and will be sharing tonight. And this poem is especially for my mother and my two sisters who raised me and my twin brother. This is entitled Sacred Woman. You arrived here into this hemisphere many millennia ago from miles beyond the moon's mist. Legend has it that one breath from your bosom to break the cycle of man and bring rebirth. Woman, you are of the earth and every element of the universe. For what reason would any man want to harm, violate, or degrade you? Only a fool would tamper with your treasure. The wind without end sings silence to pay homage to your pricelessness of bliss. You are a woman of the wonderfulness of shining stars. Afar into the galaxy one could only find gifts that would equate your divine sunshine. Christopher Donchell Sims' poetry is never powerful enough. Roses don't possess enough regality. Diamonds lack the luster needed, and gold doesn't have enough gleam to honor you, Miss Supreme. You are the shadow of the unspoken spirits that manifest life. You are the shadow of the unspoken spirits that manifest life. You are the shadow of the unspoken spirits that manifest life. The secret of the sun, the whisper of the night. Thank you, and that's that piece. Appreciate that. Much love, respect, and honor to the Black woman, for sure. Nia, how much time do I have?
You still got time. You could do a couple more pieces.
A couple more? Okay, let me choose wisely. This is another memorized piece. I must follow this piece with that piece. When I become fused, settle into your wordplay, the most beautiful things serenade my soul. I feel like an innocent child gleefully discovering the certainties of living carefree. Automatically, I want to cuddle in your grammatical chemistry and let it comfort, caress, consume, and console me. I want to lay next to your devastating diction and let her breathe softly on my neck, then whisper sweet things and smile about it in my dreams. I want to smile when I hear your spoken word harmony, charming me and disarming the strength I possess, and let each and every word baptize my being and cleanse my soul like water. Because your words are windsoft still off the clouds, sweet, genuine amidst the sunshine, clever daffodils that cast spells at will. And through them, I see the science of hieroglyphics, discover all ancient mysteries, learn of all things important, intricate. Make love, make love, make love, make love to my mind, you word warrior, syllable soldier, lyrical enforcer. Transform me with traditional Greek telepathy. Feed me the vital, venomous vocabulary that I need to proceed. Thank you, and that's that piece. Appreciate y'all listening, for sure, tuning in. Much respect to the Museum of the African Diaspora. This will be my last piece, and it'll be my time, and I surely appreciate it. There is a open mic called Spoken Word Paris, and I'm global, man. You know, they say think local, but act globally and think globally. So I'm participating in an open mic called Spoken Word Paris, and this poem actually comes out of that experience. One day I will be a Black man in Paris, a man of African descent traveling to break the brutal chains of North America, to experience a different way of being. Can you imagine a Black man dreaming in Paris? My calm, charismatic style will fit perfectly in Paris. I took French in college. My knowledge of the eclectic city is increasing as I pontificate. With kindred Paris-based poets I am engaged with at online open mics and the like. I will eat scones, sip at fine French cafes, or go to jazz clubs to listen to musicians play in Paris. I will be a free Black man like James Baldwin inside the country of France with a passport that shows I am an export whose new resort is an international city with renowned artist sensitivities. I am an advanced Black man who was tired of the consistent hate. I'm tired of us being shot down in the streets, tired of us being treated like beasts in a country where racial violence never seems to cease. My homeland should be embarrassed that I will have to leave in order to find a taste of peace in Paris, a taste of peace in Paris. I will make friends in Paris. I will breathe differently in Paris. I will walk the streets free in Paris. I will pursue all of this art, culture, and community when I arrive. I'm a traveling Black man with evolving plans to find more of my universal tribe as I pack my bags, lift off, pursue, strive. I will write back home to all of the Black women and men I know in the United States to invite them to Paris. We will drink wine, wave at strangers, dance in Parisian nightclubs, love all things French while being Black people, 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 free in Paris. Thank you, and that's my time.
Thank you so much, Christopher. And before you wrap up, how are ways that people can support you or find more about your work? I think I put your link for your book in there, but if there's any other place you'd recommend people going to support, please.
Oh yeah, thank you, Nia, I appreciate it. I have a PayPal, and I'll put that in the box. Yeah, this COVID-19 has definitely stopped all kinds of opportunities I would have had to make money in this field of art. So I would have been, I wouldn't say paid handsomely, but brother would have been all right. So if you all wouldn't mind supporting my PayPal account and helping me stay afloat to just to be able to have the things that I need, I would really appreciate it. It's paypal.me/blessed poet. So I'll put that in the box now.
Great, thank you so much. And also support by his book as well. And I just appreciate you sharing in the space. So now, yeah, of course. Now for our second half of the event, we're gonna open up our open mic once again. And so I'm gonna invite Dewana Stewart to start off this second half. Welcome.
Hi. I did not know that I would be starting off the second half, so I was unprepared. I have a poem, and if I have time, I'll probably do a second one. The first poem is called Skin I'm In, and I wrote it actually like a while back, but it's still very relevant. So I will start that. Let me pull that. The skin I am in can be as bright as the morning or as dark as the midnight hour. The skin I am in is so powerful, it collects the sun and shines. The skin I am in is a resource. oil, gold, diamonds, coal. My skin only has value once it's stripped of its soul. The mere presence of my presence causes alarm. I am a weapon without the right to bear arms. My skin can be seen as a potential threat, bleeding over with disobedience and disrespect. The skin I'm in is a color and not a choice. The skin I'm in has a body, but not a voice. But my skin does remember and holds memories, feels bullets the way my body feels the breeze, feels the shade from branches as it hangs from trees, and feels the breathless chokehold of authority. And my skin never been more than a minority. And no, I am not made of stone, merely flesh and bone, but mostly skin. But it is always to blame for the trouble that we're in. My skin was blamed for too many names, and my skin was blamed for too many blames, and been through so much hell, and my skin has been found guilty, tried, executed, and sentenced without bail. But my skin is still at war, so it cannot afford to heal. So now my skin has become the martyr. My skin has become the cause. My skin is the reason we stand one nation under God. My melanin was never meant to be restrained. My melanin is not a mess to be cleaned or a stain. The power of melanin is to absorb. So pain seeps down into your muscles and into your pores. My skin is beaten black and blue, and those who are beaten blacks are blue. My skin is told to be held accountable for my actions, so they can dish out punishment as a means of satisfaction. Black skin and bleeding backs, bending over backwards just to please our attackers, and had the nerve to twist their lips to utter words like, "Don't all lives matter?" Black skin is not foreign, it is the origin. It is the alpha and the omega. Our skin is the source and the rejuvenator. We are the color of Mother Earth, and yet they still seem to treat us like dirt. Black, brown, red, white, gold. Our skin is all colors. Our melanin works well with others, even though we are considered other. Our skin is charged by the stars to hold enough energy for 10,000 suns. We need that energy to charge our tens of thousands of suns. For those who are still in battle, for those whose wounds will not heal, for those who will not see the light of day or the dead of night, for those whose tongue has been split in two by silence here. Take my skin, use it. It was made for you, because the skin I am in, you are living into. Thank you. That's one piece. I did no introduction, and I'm so sorry, but I am Dewana. I work at a high school called June Jordan School for Equity. I'm born and raised in San Francisco. I'm still in San Francisco, so there's like a whole lot of layers to that. If I have time, and I hope I do, I have another poem, and this is more just came out of like the feeling of COVID and also dealing with a pandemic and also dealing with racism, if I can. Do you remember when intimacy became dangerous? Subtly sudden, stifled without a sound, you drown and you drink and you swallow the senses. Have we forgotten what touch is? Thrilling connection between atoms pulsating. Where is that energy now? Has it been stored away for a rainy day? Will it suddenly combust? This is us. We are tethered to one another, rise up as the world erupts, but I am not to be trusted. I'm a time bomb of emotions. If you linger too long, you might spark a fuse. There's too much to lose. There's too much to choose between me and you. Say I want to go back to normal someday, but maybe someday may not come. Maybe it's not a setback. Maybe we just set in our ways, take comfort in the decay. Those too eager to seek worth on a pile of bodies, they, the few who think themselves godly, feast on the table on the backs of many, will find their bellies will soon be empty. Do you smell what's cooking? It's dank, it's dangerous, it's that loud. A revolution is brewing, but no one seems to know where it's coming from. Yo, do you remember when you wasn't thirsty? I don't mean like thirsty. Well, I do, but then I don't. But I mean like thirsty for life. Want to quench yourself, drench yourself in all your inhibitions, like a creature of habit, basic instincts, and bad habit. Human nature is hard to break, can't slip, can't make a mistake, gotta stay inside, stay in the lines, born out the lines, can't stay inside, oh, trust I, borderline, I'm bored as fuck. Black boy joy, but you so prosecute. Hot girl summer left out destitute. Can't tell me that this is division. Chemical warfare mixed with division. So sick of submission. I'm sick of submission. I need some admission. I need some form of free will. I need some intention, not some form of some guilt. I need someone to feel me, yeah, and I need someone to feel me. Maybe that's the plan. When you can't touch, you stay out of touch. Maybe I shouldn't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much. This is more than just a new lust. We need some new trust. I need a new rush. I need a new trust, but do trust. I know that I'm a threat. Just be ready. Just be grateful I'm not ready to bust yet. Thank you.
Thank you so much for both those pieces. I enjoyed those. All right, next up to the mic, I would like to invite Maith Rufino. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Nia. Thank you for allowing me to read and participate. I'm really honored. So I'm going to read this piece dedicated to George Floyd. Can you hear me well? Okay. 8 minutes, 46 seconds. We are the people without tears. Anna Akhmatova. In the book of events, someone writes, "It's a dark hour. Many details of May 25th may pass unnoticed. That it was the 21st Monday of the 2020, for example. That most of the world was locked inside their homes, fearing to die because of the plague. That spring entered in its 77th day and the weather was warm. It may quickly be forgotten that in the city of Minneapolis, in the state of Minnesota, there is a sordid intersection of Chicago Avenue and East 38th Street in a neighborhood with a sinister name, Powderhorn Park. Perhaps in the book of events will also be forgotten that a piece of paper that an ordinary man wanted to exchange for a pack of cigarettes had the face of an assassin of the native people. A president that took away the land of hundreds of thousands and made them mark their exile with a trail of blood and tears. Perhaps it may be overlooked in the book of events that Andrew Jackson's face was poorly printed. The store owner said it was forgery. Many of us think that the face was not even worth $20. Perhaps in the book of events, it will also be forgotten that the White House printed in the back of that paper, a house that some still find attractive for selfies, built with black slave hands, was also worth nothing. Perhaps in the book of events, it will be forgotten that the SUV was of a deep blue like fear, that the t-shirt the man was wearing was black, that the pants he was wearing were black, that the socks he was wearing were black, that the shoes were black, that his eyes were black, that the vulnerable naked skin exhibited in the morgue was black. Perhaps in the book of events, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds in which the white police knee asphyxiated the black neck will also be passed unnoticed. Perhaps someone may want to erase from the book of events that he screamed 16 times, "I can't breathe." That with a blackened tongue, he gasped twice the word, "Mom." That he urinated, that he bled through his nose, that he begged the 4 policemen, "Don't kill me." That in the penultimate second of the tulip's dark hour in front of the witness that were filming without being able to move a finger right before all disappeared, he said, "I am dying." Then someone who knows that all dies when our eyes are broken leaned out the window of death through the broken eyes of that man, with his body pinned to the black pavement by a white man with black gloves, and said his name for the first time. When the nameless burned the cities, an insistent echo implored, "Say his name, say his name, say his name." For then on, another page in the book of events began to be written with the lives of the nameless. And what will remain written will never leave that father, that brother, that son, that lover without a name, dead. And with my broken lips, I say your name. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that piece. It was very beautiful. Next up, I would like to invite Avacha up to the mic. Welcome, Avacha.
Okay, you surprised me. I didn't even know. Couldn't even get in. Oh boy, so I am not prepared. Let me get prepared here real quick. Okay. I'm a daddy's girl, and my brother Raymond Nat Turner loves this poem. My father and mother were dancers, and as I say, I'm a daddy's girl. Every year, I would give my father a Mother's Day card, and he was really pissed off at it. And he'd always groan and grouch and what have you. And so I figured he didn't want it. So one year I decided not to give it to him. He says, "Where's my card?" This is my favorite one of the poems I wrote for him because he was a real special guy. It's called Poppy Was a Dancing Man. Raymond was 25 shades blacker than midnight, blue black they called him. Poppy was a pretty boy, a pretty man, skin so smooth like he was carved out of ebony. Poppy never just walked, he was smooth like his skin, moved like a panther, like a well-sung song. Poppy was beautiful to watch, wore his pride like armor, like a weapon, like a shield in cities designed to make him disappear. He wore his blackness like a badge of honor, moved through the whiter-than-thou madness with the grace of greased lightning, danced his way cruel stages that tried to bury him in the filth of their fear. Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, the kind of unstoppable black that they couldn't hold back no matter how much they tried. Poppy was untouchable. Even when they tried to get to him by trying to get to me, he danced in their faces on all their sacred places and made a joke of their ignorance by stealing their shows on their stages and giving unasked for lessons on the real black power, his unshakable power, our undeniable survival power of Poppy. I said Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, 25 times blacker than was tolerable by terrified white folks, by immaculate Negro jet setters. Hey, too bad to be so confident, too African looking to be so proud, too loud to be so arrogant, too damn black, or so they said. But even when black was a never to be spoken word, they couldn't stop his beauty. I mean, when Poppy smiled, even the wind held its breath. While all the foolish tongues rattled, he danced and spread the blackness, his blackness across the whiteness of this stolen land. He danced and he danced and he danced and he danced and he kept holding on to my hand, held on real tight till I was strong enough to see the light and write this poem. Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight. You know, it's a stupid thing that they still play these color games. You can never be too dark or too light. And so I dedicate that poem to not only the memory of my father, but all the guys who are good fathers, because we girls need you too. Anyway, do I have time for one more?
Sure, go for it.
You say what?
Sure, yes, do one more.
In honor of Juneteenth, this one I do. It's called Still Paying the Price. It's come to my attention more times than a few. There are folks still out there embarrassed by me, waiting for me to act my age, to wise up and grow up, forget about feeding my soul on the diet of music and poetry instead of stuffing my psyche with envy and gold. Said they're waiting for me, praying for me to wake up and drop all that artsy-fartsy stuff. Stuff they have the audacity to call immature nonsense. One half-drunk intellectual phony even told me my lifestyle could dishonor our mission of uplifting nutrition, demanding that I surrender to the blandness of their reality. Get up off my big artistic behind and find a little good old-fashioned upwardly mobile pride. Pull my head in out of fantasy land and get myself a real job. Join the morning army of the nondescript, bliss out on some nameless cubicle, and lose myself among the lost hordes of the respectively bored and the boring. But the gods chose to smile on me, drop the gift of song on me, and when the spirits speak to me, it always comes out poetry. And every wind that blows my way talks to me, begs me to keep on asking the same old question: how many ancestors had to lose their hands? I say, how many ancestors had to lose their hands for me to be able to write this poem? Has the ambition to rise blinded some of our eyes? And the quest for acceptability lodged like stones in our ears, leaving us deaf, making us forget it was the unconquered power of our music and song that kept us keeping on, kept us strong through the lynchings and the burnings and the stonings. It was our creative fire, a creative torch that lit our desire to inspire. It was the blue rhythm in our gifts, the gruesome dues behind the spiritual power in our songs, all along the road to an always elusive goal called freedom. This is the gift that some would like to sit on the back burner, a blessing that some others would just love to ignore, forgetting all those times when we were their all. And there was nowhere else to go. They don't even know that they are what they're running from. How many hands were lost for us to earn the unasked for right to become the backdrop for their unending pompous talkathons? Nothing more than court jesters relegated to ambience, no new age clowns on some modern day technologically hip plantation, mindless entertainment for the literati who've obviously forgotten that the gift of intellect in the hands of an insecure fool can become a curse that clogs the mind, then self-destructs and gets swallowed up, lost in the shallow hell of an inevitable but cruel retribution. The hellborn of self-hate, a bitter, unhealthy dose of disrespect turned in on itself. And even though we're still ignored by some of our own, and I know we're never, ever, ever going to get anywhere near our 40 acres and a mule, we've always got this gift. It's written all over every single one of the billions of cells in our body. This gift. Our stubborn old hard-headed ancestors wish this gift, an undefeated dream paid for by hundreds of amputated hands and broken necks, the bizarre decorations left hanging from too many trees, this gift. An omnipotent a patient wish that refuses to die in this poet's eyes, and because of some of us so-called artist types continuing to refuse to stick our heads in the convenient sands of selective amnesia. Somewhere, I say somewhere this evening, the ancestors are dancing, laughing and dancing and stirring it up. Even in the stoic, too cool to groove halls of academia, laughing cause not even fear could stop us from writing. Dancing, because I'm still asking. I say I'm still asking, what was the cost? Can anybody tell me how many hands were lost for me to write this poem? I got a series, a poetry series, a multilingual series. I put the thing on the website there, the fourth Saturday of the month. Please check it out and come. Thank you for listening to my words.
Thank you so much for sharing, Abacha. And yes, please do share your other poetry events so people can come and support. All right, next up, I would like to invite Carla Brundage up to the mic. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you. All right, I'll just dive in here. He's so beautiful. Soft skin of a peach on tender places. Eyes locked in a stare with a slight smile. Conversation with no words. Your hands on my feet, edging pain away. The softness of your breath on my neck. Goosebumps that reach for each other. Tiny invisible hairs that transfer your aura to mine. On a cellular level, we are joined by an invisible force that I can see. You in the club even when I can't. Your truck is the car I detect in traffic. It's recognizable, like the scent of a horse in the stable, or snow on the top of Kilimanjaro, or the Milky Way in August. Okay, I have another one. I've been thinking about being a woman lately. This one is called Take Her Down. Take her down, break her arm, touch her breast, encircle her neck. Take her down, put your foot behind hers, take your knee behind hers, it fits nicely there. Gently push, she will lose her balance, hold her face to the floor. If she cries out, release the pressure a bit. After she goes down, put your knee on her back, but not with all your weight so you don't crush her spine. You need to have 2 or 3 people for a takedown. You have to work together. If your partner does not have your back, it can quickly become a dangerous situation. Report to your higher ups when you get back to the office. When you go to take her down, come up from behind her and put your arms through hers. It's like a dance move. Arms and legs move in coordination. Each officer takes one side, one arm, one knee. That's when you can ease her gently to the ground. No one's back gets injured, and it's easier to cuff her. If she struggles, release the tension somewhat, but do not let go. What happens if her clothes come off? Generally speaking, you must proceed as if this person is a danger to him or herself and you. At this point in time, clothing does not matter. And if she cries out, Again, women are very manipulative people. They will say anything to try and gain your trust, but you cannot trust them. They have already done something to get them in this situation as it is. And now that she is in trouble, she will suddenly want your help. No, all cries for help are false and should be ignored. And my last one is very short. Black women are expected to rise even when we have fallen. When I am down there, someone is always behind me, pushing me up. And sometimes I just want to be down there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all three of those. I think they carry a lot of weight to what we're experiencing right now. So thank you for sharing. Next up, I would like to invite Glynis Reed up to the mic. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I actually had a chance to exhibit my work at MOAD some years ago in the double exposure exhibit. So it's nice to be able to take part in this. I'm living in New Jersey now, so it's great that we can connect like this, because otherwise I wouldn't have had a chance to do this poetry reading. I'm an artist, poet, writer, educator, and I have two poems to read. First one is called Mammy, I Know I Am, But What Are You? Our foremothers bend arcs of light through prisms, beam electric spectrums of rainbow light for the children. Even the leeches that hung from perineum drained our blood, dried and caked, ate blood red. They always liked game meat for dinner. Foremothers wet nursed white babies. They could have fed them poison milk if they wanted to be bound up with those children forever. We all go back to Lucy, to Eve who dwelt in an emerald garden near the Zambezi River, who bathed on the ruffled blue outskirts of Victoria Falls eons ago. With black soap, salt, gold, and honey, Mama would never give birth to children just to destroy them. Not even her ungrateful, ashy albino ones who still love to paint their faces burnt cork black, cursing the blushing sweetness of guavas and denying the pink wetness of watermelon. Grin listed red and brightened teeth with Colgate whitening strips. Wear dark kinks as protective styles. These babies kick and scream themselves to sleep at night. They cry to the lonely, Mars black, the ivory bone black. Tar paper, baby inside themselves, Al Jolson black. Jazz singer black. Mammy, oh, mammy. Mammy, mammy, mammy. Oh. So that's the end of that. The next piece I have is called Dresses of Lace and Salt. We are awash in blue-green waters, waves whipping us up into whirlpools. We slide down a crocheted sleeve of salt, laced by our diamond spells. Spinning in rainbow twists, our mouths pucker around green apple suckers, remembering 15, safe inside synchronized dreams. We backstroke to our licorice lair, braiding seaweed deep in our hair, licking salt off crusted skin, sensing a cool cascade of light dripping from the molten core we share. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm so glad to have this connection that you showed your work at MOAD. That was a really surprise. All right, I would like to invite Yeva Johnson up to the mic. Welcome, Yeva.
Thank you, Nia, and thank you to MOAD. Tonight, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna call a disrupted poetry sandwich, because I'm gonna do 2 short poems and then I'll do some music right after that. I had one poem and it was so sad, so I put a little short, more positive one after it. First poem is called Yesterday, Today, and Let It Not Be Tomorrow. My eyes fly skyward. the blood and sweat of a dead Black man, or two, or three, no, more, drips onto Southern and Western soils. My eyes this time remain dry, reflecting the empty husk of myself. I worried about the aftermath of this extra special Black History bonus month in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. But the month has not even ended. Despite protests and recognition, we who are Black every day are killed, disregarded, disrespected, or ignored every day. I lose track of the names and pray they don't ever repeat. Rayshard Brooks, Malcolm Harsh, Robert Fuller, and Tehran Jamal Boone. Though every tree hung with the strange fruit of our people of any gender or none, though every sidewalk littered with the fallen fruit of a man with bullets in his back, how can Black men turn around so quick? It would not be enough to slake the thirst of this country. The next poem is called Post-Dawn Perambulation. Every creak in the joints, a little jay, peck, peck, pecking at my lifeline. The grout is crumbling, but I'm still out there getting a sun kiss. This walk a time for meditation. Each flower I spy offers an opportunity to feel gratitude flood my being. I march on, sweat clinging to my brow and the inside of my mask. No matter how slow or achy, it is good to be alive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeva. Your words and your music are haunting and beautiful at the same time. It's always lovely hearing you. And so we have just a couple more folks who are on the open mic list. And so I would like to invite Tracy Bartlow up to the mic.
Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to hear everyone share their truths in this really challenging time. So I'm going to share with you all a short story. And this is something that is so relevant to what we are experiencing right now with this climate of protests and of disruption and change. I am not the author of this short story, but it's something that I discovered as I was developing my exhibition called My Life in Nudes. And I'm actually going to add a link to the show in the chat. I'm gonna pull that up really quickly. So as I'm developing this exhibition that has nude photographs, erotic stories, and poetry, I came across this reader. It's called the Sexual Storytelling Reader. And I received it when I was one of the artists that was a part of an artist retreat for the Ford Foundation. And as I'm developing this exhibit, then I revisited these short stories that are erotic by people of color. And This short story by Nikki Giovanni is called Bring on the Bombs. And it's a historic interview with a woman named Daisy Bates, who is an activist in the 1950s. So I'm gonna take y'all all the way back to the 1950s and activism that was happening at that time. So this story is just Daisy talking to Nikki Giovanni about her experiences in activism. So I'm just gonna go through some of the parts that I highlighted. And Daisy is also, she's one of the key activists with the Little Rock Nine as they were integrating Black students into white schools. And she was also part of running a newspaper. So she says it was tense all over the South, all the time, not just because of the Brown decision, it was tense well before that. So she talks about living in a town with a white boy that killed her mother, and that she would see this man in town as she's growing up. And she says, Mama was dead. The white boy did it. And that was that. I had become what is called a woman, and I was told to be careful. I wasn't the one who was not careful, but that's the way we looked at things then. What they wanted was for me to be ugly and to carry myself in an ugly way so that nobody would think of me as, well, you know. So I tried all my life to be unattractive, clean, neat, but unattractive. Then she goes on to say, the horrible murder of Emmett Till rang a resounding bell for everyone. The Brown decision was in, but the South was having none of it. Those men murdered Till to show all the parents what they would do. But Till put some iron in our backbone. Everybody stood up. So she talks about Ebony, Jet, the Afro-American, the Pittsburgh Courier, all ran these stories about Emmett Till's murder. And so she as well ran a story about Emmett Till in her newspaper. So there's pages and pages of this recounting of her activist life. And she talks about finding peace of mind when she would sit in her living room and she had a picture window. And after a long day, this is where she would sit and find peace. And one night a brick comes through her living room window. And other activists, people from her church, her neighbors, they all come to her house where she lives with her husband, LC. And so they're all handling this situation of what has just happened. And so Daisy says, I started crying and it just escalated on me. I went, I guess, from tears to sobs to some kind of hysteria. I just couldn't control myself. It was too many, she says it was too much violence around her, too many people in her house, and she just snapped. So at one point, her husband, LC, said, everyone needs to leave. And he excuses everyone out of their home. And Daisy says, I later learned that Reverend Taylor stayed behind and he pulled up a chair with his rifle across his lap. Okay, y'all get that? The Reverend had a rifle across his lap for protection. So here comes the erotic part. As I was reading this, I was like, what's erotic about this? And here comes the erotic part. Her husband, LC, takes her into the bathroom and calms her out of her hysteria by giving his wife a bath. He lit some lavender scented candles and he began to undress her and whisper to her and speak to her tenderly. And he talks about every article of clothing he took off, he would kiss her in that place. And so she says he was kissing me and whispering to me while he took my bra off. He was brushing my hair back while he unzipped my skirt. He kept rubbing my back and my skirt fell to the floor. He pulled my half slip over my head, taking my hands real high. She goes on to say, I never thought it would have been possible to want anyone as much as I wanted him right then. I was trying to pull him into the water, but he just kept going over me with the water, with the soap, and with his mouth. So y'all, they go in. I will not go into more details, but they have this amazing and beautiful and passionate lovemaking session. And this part always gives me chills. And it makes me so emotional. After they finish having this amazing sex, her husband Elsie says, Daisy, when you go to that protest tomorrow, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that this is what you're coming home to. And so Daisy says, when she went to the protest the next day, everyone said I was calm, cool, and collected. And she also said, I used to go to the front window, which we never repaired until the troubles were over. I would pull back the curtains and holler, bring on the bombs, crackers, bring on the bombs. Thank you. And that's the title of the story, Bring on the Bombs.
You're sharing that story with us. Definitely inspired.
Yes. And I just wanted to share, like, there are thousands, if not millions of people on the front line. And this story is a reminder of how do we replenish ourselves? How do we get what we need? How do we support each other and also replenish ourselves so that we come back calm, cool, and collected and like bring it on and ready for more? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Important words to remember. And so to close out this evening, I would like to invite Sherry Hall, who will be our last open mic reader for this evening. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, and hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for telling me about this, Chris. He did a wonderful job. So I was conflicted with what to read today, and kind of reached back 4 years, and I have not looked at this piece in a long time. It's a piece that I wrote after the murder of Corn Gaines, called Black American Horror Story, episode 45. It's probably the only time I ever put that in a poem. And it is a drama. Black American Horror Story, episode 45. Home theater TV, a.k.a. America smells a combination of popcorn and pissed off. Prologue. Intercutting between school and home, Black girl magicians are told they have potential. Parents and teachers say, reach for the stars, the sky, our magic, potent, powerful, and frightening. Still photo montage show Black girl growing up, facial change into young woman, transformation from baby with potential to potential threat. Rising action sequence, blue gods, parallel artist, enter Black girl, Spike Lee dolly shot Black girl, reach for the sky, highlight brown skin, smoky complexion, where there's smoke, there's fire. She must be getting ready to fire. She must be fire, fire, aim to extinguish daughter of Adam, holding no gun, atoms bouncing off each other, scared for her life. Wide pan, camera angle on Black girl, hands spirit fingered and trembling, ascending into the clouds of particulate, shooting stars emerging from lead-filled paint brushes. Blue gods drew and spray painted her an American ritualistic mural, graffitied ebony masterpiece, fume-filled air smells a mixture of gunpowder and acquittal. Monologue from Wife of Blue God. Should be equally tearful and fearful. Maybe we should feel threatened. What if our little white girls start trying to be magical with their baby boys, writing wands, turning our family trees gold and bronze skin, procreated alchemy, creating amalgamations of magical goddesses, muggles, mutts, or insert figurative language for female dog here. I mean witches. Freeze frame on Black girl. Black girl turned American science experiment laying prostrate on asphalt petri dish and examine. Bit part scientist cameo. Insert famous eugenicist or Voltaire here. Give explanation for extermination. Scientific justification, she was potentially dangerous. Melanin chemical element unstable, fear isotopes, half-lifing, radioactive, unsure what her natural decay may bring, nucleus shift, scientific reasoning, make her die quickly, don't allow her to run. You know these Negroes still suffer mania, which has also always been curable with bullets. Expressive montage. Her life dissected in the courts, news reports written, uniform, blue god glorified and blameless, badge of honor brandished boldly for barbarics against blackness, bloodshed condoned, justification, just call her crazy. Headlines carry the same old story. Black woman killed by cop, history of mental health issues. Episode title and message, seeking help is criminal, especially when you have potential. When you Black girl magic potent, when blue gods scare of magic make Black temples holy, counterfeit salvation, consecrate skin with hot lead, their religion a bloody thing, life force leak on concrete while they sing hymns to themselves over Black carcasses, praise themselves hero, pretend to be God, taking lives, telling us to lift our hands, reach for the sky, and shooting us down to worship. Roll credits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking us home with that piece. That was very powerful. Thank you. And so I also just want to say thank you to everyone for being here and sharing in this space, and for all of our readers, thank you again for all the pieces. I feel a lot more uplifted and full of energy hearing everyone. And so again, I want to say, I appreciate all of the support and people. It's like nice seeing the same faces and new faces each time as we grow this program and are able to reach so many people now being in this virtual space. So that makes me really happy, and I'm extremely grateful. And so if folks are able to, if you're able to support MOAD financially, I will be, well, Elizabeth already put the information in the chat. Thank you, Elizabeth. There's ways to donate to us both on our website and by phone by texting the number 56512 and typing MOAD SF. And I also encourage everyone to keep coming to our programs and our events. We are still doing a lot. We're doing too much, but we have a lot of performances, especially this Friday coming up for Juneteenth. This is a series that's happening now twice or 3 times a month. It happens every other Thursday. And so our next open mic will be on July 2nd. And our feature is Samuel Getachew, who was the 2019 Youth Poet Laureate of Oakland. So please come back and join us for that. And then we'll be continuing that every other week in addition to other really incredible programs. So please check out our website and continue to support. And thank you everyone again for coming tonight.